we have an injury update to go over for Jordan Love, who unfortunately injured his left thumb, his non-throwing hand thumb, in the preseason game against the Jets. Never something you want to have to see, and unfortunately, he is dealing with an injury. But here it came out in Brian Gutekunst's press conference earlier today. This is shared from Rob Demovsky, who says, Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said QB Jordan Love is undergoing a procedure on his left thumb. It's a ligament issue. That's why he had it taped yesterday in practice. Said the hope is for Love to return to practice next week. More Gutekunst, I don't this affecting him long term. This happened in the preseason opener on Saturday versus the Jets. So thankfully, it sounds like this left thumb ligament issue should be resolved with this procedure that, according to different reporters, I think from Rob Demovsky as well as Ian Rappaport, that this surgery will be done today. And so the hope is he returns next week. Hopefully that is the case. And so it doesn't sound like it's something that's going to impact him once the regular season starts, which is great news. At the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, at what point sometimes these injuries do affect people longer. I guess we don't always know which ones it's going to be and if this is going to, fully solve this problem. But it sounds like it shouldn't be an issue going forward. So it's unfortunate because he misses time at practice. He misses time continuing to build that chemistry with Matthew Golden, young receiver who I think should be great this year. But then we also have a little bit more from a Matt LaFleur press conference that came out here. And Rob Demovsky also shared this on X. He said, Packers coach Matt LaFleur on Jordan Love's left thumb surgery. From what I've been understanding, it's relatively quick recovery. LaFleur said it's unlikely Love will play in the preseason finale, but the hope he can practice before that. And so Matt LaFleur had previously shared that the plan already was to not play most, if not all, the starters in the next preseason game against the Colts, but that the plan would then be to play a lot of them in the final game against the Seahawks. But now it's sounding like with this Jordan Love thumb injury, that the plan is now not to play him in that final game. Because I could imagine, if you're Matt LaFleur, and as a head coach, you're having to make this decision, do you want to go out there and have to play your starters in the preseason? Do you want to risk them injuring themselves? Or do you want to sit them, not play them in the preseason, but then risk going in week one and having them just not quite ready or prepared? Because I think we've seen that years ago. I remember there was one season the Packers starters barely played in the preseason. They go in week one. I think it was with Rodgers against the Saints, and we just got absolutely destroyed. And then in that scenario, you probably say to yourself, well, maybe we should have played the starters in the preseason. But now when you have an injury like this, I would assume it makes LaFleur say to himself, is it worth the risk? Is it worth the risk putting out your best players out there when they could risk an injury? So it sounds like Love is probably done for the preseason, which I guess would be smart with this injury. And as I said, hopefully this isn't something that will be a problem moving forward. It doesn't sound like it should be, so that is great news. We're still about a month away from the season, whereas if this had happened closer to the season starting, that's where you'd be a little bit more concerned. But it seems that it should be resolved pretty quickly, which is great news for Jordan Love. It's just unfortunate that he's dealing with another injury. Thankfully, it's not his throwing hand, because if that was the case, that'd be a lot more worrisome. At least if it's the non-throwing hand, you can sort of maneuver around it a little bit better, and hopefully that way it won't really affect him once the regular season starts. If you want more Packers news, feel free to subscribe down below. You can follow me on X at LukeBeller3, and I'll see you guys next time.